Today's episode is brought to you by Commerce Tools. The stakes are high for U.S. beauty brands in a market that is projected to clear $90 billion in sales in 2023, with greater than 36% of sales coming from e-commerce. A multi-billion-dollar beauty brand's e-commerce platform had reached the end of its life. When that happens, it puts the entire business at risk, including the ability to serve your customers where, when, and how they want to be served. After switching to Commerce Tools and embracing a more flexible mock architecture, the retailer's vision for connecting in-store and personalized shopping experiences became a reality. Literally, they can experiment and roll out new features within days. Not to mention, they secured their position as a modern brand that uses tech to their advantage, breaking sales records and expanding their retail and commerce footprints. If you're being held hostage by your technology platforms and your developers have thrown up their hands, tell them to start a free trial at commercetools.com today. It's May 8th, 2023, and this is the Watson Weekly, your essential e-commerce digest. Today on our show, Big Commerce doubles down on B2B. Pinterest ties up with Amazon advertising. PitchBook report whines about the demise of unicorns. Shopify reports earnings and chucks its logistics business. And finally, the Investor Minute, which contains 7 items this week from the world of venture capital, acquisitions, and IPOs. But first, in our shopping cart full of news, Big Commerce doubles down on B2B. This past week, Big Commerce released a few announcements regarding B2B upgrades for its solution. First, some commentary. While Shopify has been busy investing in payments and playing Ahab chasing its great white fulfillment whale, more on that later, by the way, I've been watching Big Commerce too. The company has stuck to its knitting as continually focused on being a good enough cloud solution for lower and middle market B2B customers, as well as picking off e-commerce Magento refugees who needed more customizability and control than Shopify allowed, particularly with regards to payments. When you think about e-commerce, most people think about Shopify because their context is direct to consumer. Well, the D2C only moment is past, and Shopify is aggressively moving into POS and upmarket into headless to expand its addressable market. The B2B revolution is still just getting started, however, and for Shopify, this is just one of 10 priorities. On the other hand, while Big Commerce has issues, and a lot of them I have talked about here, they also have fewer distractions. Just ask your average private equity firm where the e-commerce opportunity is now. They will talk about industrial, scientific, education, commercial trucks, wastewater, government, and all sorts of vertical-specific and hidden industries you would never even see presented in the news, which represent over $1 trillion in TAM and growing fast. TAM is total addressable market. Shopify can handle many things with apps, of course. Still, for Big Commerce with their acquisitions last year of Bundle B2B and Quote Ninja, they built a plenty good enough B2B e-commerce solution where, in addition to a NetSuite ERP, any small to mid-market distributor or manufacturer can make a solid solution. I always pay attention to the unaided awareness of interest in solutions before customers come to me, and Big Commerce has captured a lot of B2B mindshare in this segment in particular. Last year, I did an RFP between Big Commerce and Shopify in a small to mid-sized distributor that Big Commerce won, and it wasn't even that close. The challenge within e-commerce is that each year is different, and you need to pay attention to what new things Shopify is doing as well. Lots of B2B updates and additions are closing gaps. A few new items from Big Commerce and B2B include multi-storefront, a headless beta, and configure price quote functionality. While you can do a lot with Shopify, the App Store is a wreck unless you have a trusted agency partner, and then you depend on 4 to 5 companies rather than one for the same functionality. If it's supposed to be out of the box, it's not yet. To be clear, Shopify has been making B2B strides, but Big Commerce is still in the lead here from a default out-of-the-box perspective and a market mindshare point of view. To Big Commerce, my advice would be, let's see more of this. B2B and flexible payments is still a gap in the e-commerce market below enterprise, and they need to keep driving through it. Our second story. Pinterest ties up with Amazon advertising. Both Amazon and Pinterest had challenges to solve with their advertising approach in the last few years. Amazon doesn't have a great general-purpose search engine like Google, or a virtually infinite source of new content like Meta or TikTok. This limits the keyword surface area that can be used for its ad inventory. Separately, Pinterest has consistently been one of the highest converting traffic sources for other websites, but one of the lower monetized sites that sells ads in the industry. Bill Reedy, the ex-Google and PayPal executive, wasted no time in tying up Pinterest with one of the rising stars in advertising, Amazon. This is a multi-year partnership. On the Pinterest side, the hint in the press release is that there could be others afterwards, but it also makes me wonder, could Pinterest be a future acquisition target for Amazon? Pinterest does have social elements, though not as sticky as the big social media sites, so Pinterest content could be an interesting addition to Amazon's content properties. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. As it stands, Pinterest content give Amazon's ad inventory wider reach both in terms of visitors, demographics, and purchase funnel intent. Pinterest is often higher in the funnel than Amazon. On the other hand, Pinterest has no path to unseating any of the giants. The power law applies to the internet, so at some point, unless it's consistently taking share from another major player, which it's not, it's better off partnering with one of the majors. The only ad networks gaining share at this stage are Amazon and TikTok, and to a much lesser scale, Walmart. Partnering TikTok was a non-starter at the moment. Google and Meta would likely spell the end of independent Pinterest over time. Amazon was the only one who likely gave them flexibility and could even give them a path to exit in the future. Perhaps even Pinterest could become an Amazon Buy with Prime partner for its brand advertisers. Shoppable pins combined with Amazon inventory could be another interesting direction for the two companies. At the very least, Pinterest is trying new things under new CEO Bill Reedy. Our third story. PitchBook reports whines about the demise of unicorns. Hey, can I rant for a minute here? The last few years, I feel like we're getting a replay of the dot-com bubble burst of 2000, as well as a recession of 2008. Then here comes a new PitchBook report saying that we are very upset that all these new high-valuation unicorns can't find new funding and also can't find acquisition exits either. The report feels like a love letter from Andreessen Horowitz to a lost lover, almost like an Adele song on her 21 album. Look, it was always a dumb idea to talk about your valuation. If it isn't clear already, stop thinking about it, stop talking about it. Valuation is not a meaningful business metric unless your stock is A, worth something, and B, it goes from some small number to a much larger number. Otherwise, it's just PR hype on parade, and it's likely to end badly for the inexperienced founder trying to show momentum. Meanwhile, the economic reality set in right after Q1 last year, and any founder caught flat-footed has very little time to make tracks at this point. I'm not going to lie, some of this report is kind of BS. The article starts off saying the only reason there must be so many unicorn companies is because of all the innovation happening. And suddenly, they're concerned the market won't reward all this innovation. Well, my response is that the proliferation of unicorns was more due to easy money on one hand and new investor e-commerce FOMO on the other. The second claim is what they call a liquidity crunch has trapped enormous amounts of value within these highly valued organizations. Of course, who are they highly valued by? Yes, likely the investors who are PitchBook's customers providing this data. Notice there is no mention of consumer innovation in an Amazon aggregator business or a 5-minute grocery delivery business. The next claim the article makes is that federal regulators are becoming less capable of supporting large-scale mergers and acquisitions. While it is true that some acquisitions have been blocked, we're still talking about the United States government here and not the EU, which has been much more active regulating. This is the United States where Google has had 90% of the search market in the United States for at least a decade. Look, the demise of unicorns in my mind should be cheered. Let's return to the operators running businesses rather than hucksters. And now, the story you have all been waiting for. Shopify reports earnings and chucks its logistics business. Shopify reported Q1 2023 earnings this morning, kicked their deliver fulfillment arm in 6 River off the ledge, and slashed 20% of its staff. Shopify management reports that it's trying to change the shape of its business. Well, I guess the current shape is broken and distracted, and the new shape, I suppose, is fixed. But many questions remain. There are serious concerns that the Toby and Harley show, which has been getting increasingly distrustful of serious management in particular, and outside management specifically in the past 3 years, may have reached the end of its useful life at Shopify, in very much the same way as what got you here won't get you there. A few details. Shopify is laying off 20% of its workforce after laying off 10% last July. Clearly not enough in the past. Shopify is selling Deliver to Flexport and 6 River Systems to Ocado. Shopify reported solid GMV growth of 15% on top of 13% in Q3, with revenue up 25% from prior year, though they didn't break out how much is Deliver. Shopify losses widened to $193 million or 13% of revenue, up from losses of 11% of revenue in Q4 2022. Shopify expenses have not been going in the right direction and needed to reset to pre-pandemic break-even levels. I am optimistic that this level of cuts will allow them to get there. Subscription solutions revenue continues deceleration, 11% year-over-year in Q1 versus 14% year-over-year in Q4 2022. Monthly recurring revenue does seem to be accelerating, however, driven by the growth in Plus and POS Pro. Witness some of the distractions and miscalculations, some of which continue today. Buying a robotics company, 6 River Systems. Buying a fulfillment and delivery company, Deliver. Continued solo entrepreneur messaging while simultaneously trying to win some of the largest businesses in the world. What the heck is Shop App? Continuing insistence on the lack of value driven by professional management, even in last week's news, all the while lamenting the growth of their stock. Referring to its company mission as a main and side quest like it were playing a video game, hardly reassuring. I'll wrap this part by saying the most insidious part of Shopify's release this morning is their continued belief and insistence that they can code their way out of this problem, the cult of the crafter. This indicates that Shopify has not yet fully internalized the reasons for its missteps. The lack of a serious management team, not necessarily a great place to be. As far as logistics, Shopify sells both 6 River Systems and Deliver for stock deals. 6 River goes to Ocado and Deliver goes to Flexport. Shopify sheds a lot of cost in the process. It's unclear if this acquisition comes with warehouse leases, including the one in California that only closed a few months ago, 1 million square feet. At the risk of repeating myself, I've been pretty critical of Shopify's fulfillment business in the past few years. Let's outline a few of the issues. First, most of the functionality they wanted could have been partnered for instead of bought, so they never should have been in the business to begin with. Second, they should have hired a supply chain expert internally before evaluating the space. Over the time of Shopify Logistics, they had multiple leaders, and while some had great reputations, none were able to effect change at Shopify to change the poor trajectory. Third, they bought a robotics company. Now, robots are about efficiency to handle high volume. Shopify is not able to promise volume and certainly has no volume to optimize like Amazon does. It's almost like saying, hey, I want to buy men's dress outfit. Maybe I should buy the socks first rather than the shirt and the pants. That's kind of what I felt like Shopify buying a robotics business was like. Fourth, they never had a plan for how they would get brands to adopt a Shopify logistics service or what its unique selling proposition would be. Like still, I couldn't tell you why, if I was already in a 3PL prior to Shopify buying Deliver, I would ever want to switch over. Fifth, they never seemed to be very honest on earnings call or investors about their plans. So there's that. The bigger question is, after flailing around with the 6 River acquisition for a few years, why they ever thought, hey, we have this bad bet, let's light another $2 billion on fire. I mean, kudos to my friend Harish Abbott. He pulled off a Michael Rubin level move here. Shopify on its earnings call just announced a $1.5 billion impairment rating to logistics. Oof. Remember, $2.1 billion acquisition, $1.5 billion write-down. By any account, that's like 66 to 75% impairment. Lastly, does it seem to anyone else like they divested these businesses for the price of a few glass beads? What is Flexport really worth? Let me give you a hint. Not $8 billion, with apologies to Dave Clark, CEO of Flexport. If it's 1/3 of that valuation, they're lucky to have it. We all saw what happened to Instacart recently when it revalued itself 2 or 3 times downward. If that happens to Shopify, the deal gets even worse. So you have some percentage of a declining asset, which you already own part of, by the way, and sounds like Shopify may still be doubling down on its bad bets even now. But at least all of those costs and distractions are off the balance sheet, except for the equity stake. The big question remains for Shopify. Which one of these quests, as they call them, is the main quest? Behind door A, Shopify, the enterprise e-commerce software company. Behind door B, Shopify, the entrepreneurial e-commerce upstart arming the rebels. Behind door C, Shopify, the payments and financial services business. Toby and Harley sit in the forest in front of these 3 doors, patiently waiting for a sign to appear as to which door to pick. It may be time for someone else to choose. Hey Watsonians, this is Rick. Want to get my take on a burning question and have me answer on this podcast? You can start a topic on the RMW Commerce community and just ask. The community is full of e-commerce diehards just like you talking about important e-commerce issues. Last week, the hot topic was Vinny O'Brien, Hendrik, Aaron Sheehan, and others speaking about the big commerce Feedonomics partnership with the Hut Group in the UK for marketplace integration. You can contribute to the conversation at community.rmwcommerce.com now. But first, we'll be right back.
world of commerce is fast-paced and constantly changing. Commerce Tools, the global leader in commerce and creator of the powerfully composable mock architecture, enables commerce leaders to turn possibilities into reality. Commerce Tools helps businesses go from underperforming to overachieving, and from keeping up to setting the pace, all at a lower total cost. Go to commercetools.com to learn how to get started.
It's that time, friends, for our Investor Minute. We have 7 items on the menu today. First, brand aggregator and new platform Kite raises $200 million. Sometimes I wonder how I should cover companies in this section of the podcast. Look, I value the risk every startup is taking, but you're here for my opinion, right? Well, Watsonians, sometimes these opinions almost write themselves. Listen to this. We believe that intelligent customer acquisition and a synergistic supply chain that runs on a predictive, assistive, and evaluative AI. We call it the Kite effect. The more products that utilize the platform, the more platform adapts and learns. Okay, seriously, 2020 called and wants its aggregator pitch back. Good luck with that. Second, Cincinnati-based same-day delivery platform Freight, F-R-A-Y-T, raises Series A. The company raised $7 million from Refinery Ventures and plans to use the funds to expand its markets. The company has customers like Kroger and Firestone. I suspect they are targeting Instacart and DoorDash customers one at a time. Third, identity and wallet provider ID.me raises $132 million in Series D funding. ID.me has been a big success over the past decade, expanding its reach from its roots in military and government websites, but also to other e-commerce situations where you need to verify identity to prove membership. True story, I actually interviewed with the early version of ID.me and CEO Blake Hall in 2010 called Troop Swap before I moved to New York City. CEO Blake Hall is a tremendous entrepreneur and wish him all the success. Fourth, brand licensing firm WHP Global and Express buy Bonobos from Walmart for $75 million. Well, the shine is off of D2C-focused brands, and there are always new players looking for opportunities. Walmart has sold off a number of its direct-to-consumer brands recently, and recall Walmart paid $310 million in cash for the brand in 2017. Due to its licensing roots, WHP Global will own the intellectual property, while Express will operate the e-commerce and stores. As you may know, I'm an advisor to WHP Plus, which is the digital arm of WHP Global. Fifth, e-commerce aggregator Razor Group raises an $88 million Series C. Razor Group is a larger e-commerce aggregator based in Berlin. Over the past few years, the company has acquired a number of other aggregators, including Valerio and Factory 14. As part of this fundraising, Razor Group has acquired another player, Strise. It's not that surprising that if you're a well-capitalized aggregator who is even marginally profitable, you're able to acquire other aggregators. The big question is, are their assets actually worth anything acquiring? 6. Electrolyte mix maker Cure raises a Series A from Lura Hippo. The company is one of the only female-founded hydration brands, and its competitor, Liquid IV, was acquired by Unilever in 2020. And another sign of the times, the company already has a 40% penetration in retail with a 60% e-commerce penetration. And finally, LL Cool J's brand Rock the Bells commerce and content business raises $15 million Series B from Paramount Global. As part of this deal, Paramount will get its first rights to content from the brand for film and TV, as well as the rights to live stream the brand's upcoming festival. Of course, it's great that LL Cool J is into the mix of content and commerce and all, but personally, I'd rather get a remix of Mama Said Knock You Out. That's all for this week. Till next time, Watsonians. Hi, I'm Rick Watson, CEO and founder of RMW Commerce Consulting and host of the Watson Weekly Podcast, your essential e-commerce digest. Our production partner for the series is Citizen Racecar. The show is produced by Jose Baez, production manager Gabriela Montequin. To hear new episodes of the show every Monday morning, subscribe now at rmwcommerce.com/WatsonWeekly or wherever you get your podcasts.